Other things to think about, well, other things, names and faces. We all forget names and faces from time to time, and it can be really embarrassing when you meet somebody and you know that they've told you who they are, and then 2 minutes later their name has just gone, just forgotten it. And that's very embarrassing. It can also be financially a problem for you, because if you're in sales and you meet a customer and you forget their name, then it's, the chances of you securing that business are very slim. Use their name over and over again. It's the sweetest sound in the world for any individual, is the sound of their own name. They love it. So use their name, and they will believe that you're talking directly to them. Of course you are, but you will be, whatever you're constructing will be directly for them if you can use their name. So you need to be able to remember their name. And really with names, just like the other things we were talking about here, it's a matter of filing and tagging, associating and then putting a big tag on it. So you would then associate a person's face with the name, and you've got to associate those two things together so that next time you see the face, you will have the name in your mind. Very simple. Key here, tag it with a big tag so it's instantly memorable rather than just filed in the corner. Now, in this case, you would then try and find something in the name which relates to something about the face which is memorable. Now, the first thing you've got to understand is that everybody's got a face that's memorable. Everybody's got a face that's memorable. You've got a big nose, or you've got no hair, or whatever it is. Everything's got something that's memorable. So you need to you need to pick on that one thing, whatever it is, and make it big in your mind, a cartoon character in your mind, and then link the name to it in some way or other. For instance, if you're trying to link Mr. Ball or Mrs. Bush. Now, obviously, this is very well, this is very simple. I don't know what you're laughing at, but let's just imagine that Mr. Ball has got a big mop of ginger hair. Okay, so now in your brain you'll see this hair, but grow it big, really big and wild. Okay, wild ginger hair, and on the end of each strand of hair he's got a golf ball hanging off now in your brain. Okay, and every time he turns his head, the golf balls go like this, go round like this, and they knock him on the nose, you know, as they're going round. So you get that wild picture in your brain, and I promise you, you will never forget his name against his face. So Mrs. Bush, the same sort of thing. Imagine big bushy eyebrows, perhaps, or a hairstyle is like a hedge, a privet hedge, you know, trimmed and nicely trimmed with a swan or something, a flying swan trimmed on the top, something like that to make it wild in your mind, if you can. The wilder the better. Unfortunately, the people we meet aren't all named with easy names like that. And you've got to find more or other things to be able to associate. For instance, Harcourt, Kaminsky and Perling don't instantly have some association like Ball and Bush do. So you have to find some way of breaking those names down or making them associate. So Harcourt, for instance, you might change to Hardcourt. So you would picture that person, something wild about that person, whatever it is, and picture them linked to a tennis court, a hard tennis court, so that you will link the one thing in your mind with the other. The bigger the tag, the better. Getting them play tennis. So it's a really big tag in your brain. Kaminsky, you might, for instance, turn that to come and ski. And then in that way you would see Mr. Kaminsky coming and skiing down the slopes in Switzerland maybe, or the Drakensberg, if you don't have such a wild imagination. So wherever it is, just make that association wild. The bigger the better. Pearling, how could you change pearling? Knitting, maybe. I didn't think knitting, I thought diving for pearls. But what's important is the way in which you think. So if you see Mr. Pearling, he's now knitting. So you make that association. The wilder the association, the better. In my office, for instance, there's 4 people, and their names are some of their names are easy, like Ward, of course. You can associate that with the hospital ward. That's Megan Ward. You can associate that with the hospital ward. See Megan in hospital, if you like. Sometimes I wish I did see Megan in hospital, but Or perhaps Macintosh, Tanya there. That's easy to associate. That would be with a weatherproof coat. It's an easy name to associate. So you can associate one with the other very easily. But things like Powell, Bev, who does the financial side of the business, not such an easy name to associate. In this case, put Power Tools, somebody mentioned that, something like that, or Powell, or whatever. Break it down, powerful maybe. Mulvey, I'm not going to ask you how you would associate that. But you can imagine, in my case, I've just put Mulvey or Moldy, or something that associates one with another. So you remember, you create that tag with that association, but make sure their face, whatever you've picked on their face, is wildly exaggerated, so that then you can link one with the other very, very simply.